The evil dynasty of the New England Patriot goes for another chance to increase its dynastic reach. But not if the young, up-and-coming dynasty of mismatched toys has anything to say about it. The player-friendly Rams will take their fun-loving football mindset into the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The old league ruler Bill Belichick has never changed and never transformed for anyone, but his trusted confidant Tom Brady, the self-proclaimed baddest mother effer on the planet, has his teammates poised to get the patriotic dynasty its sixth ring. Not if young McVay, the head coach for the Los Angeles Rams, has anything to say about it. The man from the football family before the great Belichick wants to take back the rightful rule over the NFL galaxy and start the next McVay dynasty. Goff, Gurley, and Donald have led the way for the Los Angeles Rams so far. They may need some unlikely heroes to step up and make a difference to unseat the ever-imposing force of the Patriots, the dark side in Atlanta, for Super Bowl 53. Alrighty, welcome in everybody. Hope you like the intro monologue. I'm just trying to set the tone and set the scene for this up and coming Super Bowl 53. If you can't tell, I'm excited for it, and we're going to be talking about that the entire show. I know there's been some news in other sports, but that really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Funny enough, the NBA season's already at 50 games. Had no idea. That's how much I care about it. So, the Super Bowl. The biggest sporting event in the United States, and arguably one of the biggest sporting events in the entire world. I think it only trails the FIFA World Cup in a lot of ways. You got the Super Bowl, you got the Champions League, and you got the FIFA World Cup. And I think those are the three biggest. And in America, the one that matters most, the Super Bowl. The final game of the NFL season that anoints the long-awaited, long-talked-about champion of the league. So the matchup consists of two teams. One from the West Coast, one from the East Coast. Two different mindsets, two different attitudes, and two different ways of winning. On one side, you have the Los Angeles Rams with Sean McVay, a very fun-loving young coach who is very player-friendly and very open to player communication. A lot of young faces and a lot of old faces mixed together to create this very high-powered offensive weapon and this defensive mismatched old and new toys. It's a lot of money on both sides of the ball, but it's this new all-in approach that some teams in the NFL are taking. You've seen it with the Eagles. You've seen it with now the Rams. You saw it with the Falcons. You signed some veterans for more money than they're worth to add that little bit to your roster to hopefully get over the edge. Can the Rams do it? We'll find out. But on the other side of this battle, you have the New England Patriots. There's not much I can say about them that everyone doesn't already know. The Patriots, they are led by Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. They started this whole thing against the Rams 17 years ago, 2001. It's been a long ride for them. They've been in 9 Super Bowls since then. This is their 9th. Belichick and Brady are going for their 6th as a pair. It's fun. They're the complete opposites of the Rams. They're not what we'd call traditionally player-friendly. They don't pay people a lot. They cut people. They trade people. They are no-nonsense, all business, all the time. From the outside, it doesn't look too player-friendly, but the way you see the players acting, you can tell that they're all happy to be where they're at. You've heard players like Lane Johnson say, I'd rather win one Super Bowl and be happy about it than win a bunch, which is hooey. every NFL player wants to win as many Super Bowls as possible, which is why the Patriots, for a lot of veteran players, is such a tantalizing place to be. Moving forward, the players, the characters, the coaches. Let's get into them. I'm going to break down some of the biggest names. I'm going to break down some of the biggest positions from each team. We'll start with the Patriots. They've been here before. I think it's only fair. So starting with the guy up top, Bill Belichick. Let's break him down. For those of you who don't know and aren't big sports guys, Bill Belichick has been in the league for, nearing 40 years. He has 7 Super Bowls to his name, 2 as a Parcells assistant for the Giants. He coached the Cleveland Browns right before they left. He was an assistant for the Patriots under Bill Parcells. Then he was a Jets assistant. And now, here we are after he took the Patriots job. 5 Super Bowls. Big coaching tree. Not even a football guy originally. Lax bro. He played lacrosse in college at Wesleyan University. That's a school in the Northeast for you people who don't know. It's in the, I think it's the reference is the small Ivies. It's a smaller set of liberal arts colleges throughout the Northeast. And Bill Belichick's a cerebral person. The way he sees football is just different. So, looking at it in direct comparison to a lot of the coaches around him, he looks at football a different way. You hear the quotes from him. He's very rough around the edges. A lot of people don't tend to see him. But then you see him in a fun light. If you've seen the video. If you've seen the video of Halloween, Bill Belichick in his pirate costume, it's unbelievable. I was a big fan of it. I think it showed a lot of who Bill Belichick can be. Bill Belichick is a married man. These are just stuff to humanize the man himself. So when you look at him and vilify the guy, he's got kids, he's got a wife, he's a normal dude, he's not a robot. But when it comes to football, the dude is pretty much a supercomputer. Losing to the Eagles is all the motivation this team needs, and Bill Belichick needs to get this team over the hump. And if I was the Rams, that would be the one thing that worried me most, was they're not coming off winning the Super Bowl. They're not going for back-to-back. They're going for redemption from last year. And give me a team as great as the Patriots, any sort of motivation is huge. Talking about that real quick, I just want everyone to maybe gander and take some listens to some shows earlier than this one, like 30, 31, 32, 33, maybe like 27, 28, 29, depending on the dates. So I talked a lot about the Patriots were struggling, but I was always on the side that the Patriots were going to make it to the Super Bowl. So I was right once again. For the NFC, I'm going to move over and talk about Sean McVay real quick. Sean McVay is the new kid on the block. He's been coined the nickname Boy Genius by a lot of people in the league. He's 33, so I feel a little weird calling him that. The guy is from Ohio, played high school football in Georgia, was a triple option quarterback, went to Bowling Green State University. Football guy, all through and through. I heard a story from Peter King this week. He was talking to Sean McVay. And Sean McVay wasn't listening to music. He wasn't listening to anything. He was listening to a book written about Bill Walsh and Bill Belichick, the two Bills that are so integral to modern football success. If that doesn't show you how motivated Sean McVay is to be successful as a football coach, the guy is all football all the time. His first real coaching job was in the NFL as an assistant, a special assistant for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers around the time they were winning or playing in the Super Bowl when Gruden won it. He's very player-friendly. There was another story from this past week on the play that Jared Goff threw the 15-yard out to Brandon Cooks for that big, huge first down around in the middle of the fourth quarter. That huge throw he made. Jared Goff went to the sideline, and they were talking about what play to call for this situation. And they called the play, and Jared Goff said, I think I'd like it more if he ran a 15-yard out instead of a 15-yard hard in route. So as the story goes, they ran that, and the first down happened, and it pretty much led to the rest of the way of that game. Sean McVay is from a football family. His grandfather, John McVay, was responsible for those 49er dynasties that often get compared to the Patriot dynasties. So, talking about that, he's a player guy, he's a football guy, he's boy genius. He played football in college. So in a direct comparison, you really have opposite ends of the spectrum. Bill Belichick, his dad was a high school coach, but one guy, extremely player-friendly, extremely open to criticism in players. You've seen him flex his memory on plays and play-calling ability. And with Bill Belichick, he doesn't flex his memory, but he's got one like that because you've seen him on TV. You've seen the videos of him talking about stuff. He knows everything that happened. He can remember everything that happened. He's one of the most critical film watchers of a generation. Moving forward to the players, the people actually playing in the game. I think the coaches have been the main story this week, so I started with them. Hopefully the coach comparison is off. I give the advantage of coaching to Bill Belichick here, mostly for the reason he's been there 9 times and then even more times as an assistant. So he's been to Super Bowls, he's won Super Bowls. Getting that first Super Bowl win is not easy. Some players never get it, some coaches never end up with it. Look at Andy Reid. Andy Reid's been to him, hasn't won one as a head coach. And that's crazy to think. One of the most winningest coaches of all time. Still no Super Bowls. And I know Sean McVay is 33, but getting it out of the way early is better than waiting years and years until you finally get it. So, the Patriot players. A lot of people just think it's a roster of mismatched pieces and parts, but it's actually a very well-constructed roster for what the New England Patriots want to do. Defense have got smaller and quicker. Offenses have gotten smaller and quicker. Well, the Patriots have gotten smaller and quicker on the outside, but bigger and stronger on the inside. So when you have a 260-pound middle linebacker, you don't have those anymore. They're all 235, 240-pound super athletic guys. So the Patriots are one of the only teams that uses a true fullback anymore in Pat Devlin, and he's going to be a major stud in this game, I think. And, once I get to one of my sections I'm doing, I'll actually talk about him a little bit more in detail. But to start off, let's just get the most important guy out of the way. We're just going to hit on him real quick because everybody knows every little thing about Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the GOAT. He's the best quarterback to ever play the game. Plain and simple. If he gets his 6th, there's absolutely zero questions. Winning 66% of your Super Bowls is absurd. Playing in 9 Super Bowls is absurd. Winning 6 of them would be even more absurd. So he's the GOAT. Fun stat I saw this week is in Super Bowls, Tom Brady averages 330 yards. If you want to know what the most yards per game average was by a quarterback this year for the whole season, it was 309 yards, and it was Ben Roethlisberger. It wasn't Patrick Mahomes, it was Ben Roethlisberger. He averaged 309 yards per game. Tom Brady averages 21 more yards than that in the Super Bowl, in 9 Super Bowl games. I know, weird stat. It's one of those, where'd you get that stats from? Why is that even a stat sort of deals? But it just shows how good he's been in the Super Bowl. Let's not discount it. Dude pulled Giselle. If that doesn't speak on his ultra confidence, on his ultra level of being the GOAT, I don't know what else will. 5 Super Bowls, Giselle Bundchen. 2 epic trophies. All I'm saying. And to show I'm not biased here, he kisses his kids and dad, but hot white. So let's break it down. So he kisses his kids. His wife's Portuguese. His family, pretty affectionate. I think that's a good thing. I wouldn't do it personally, but hey, to each their own. I watched the documentary, a little weirded out by it, but not my family. Can't judge it from the outside. Dude has 5 Super Bowls. He's doing something more than I am. All I'm saying. So all in all, as good as I think Tom Brady obviously is the key to this game. If he plays like Tom Brady's capable of playing, they're going to win this game. I don't think there's really any questions about that. It's going to take a super effort to beat Tom Brady in a game like this. So we'll move on. So the running backs. I've given them 3 nicknames, and hopefully they all fit to how you think of them. So the first one I'll talk about is Crazy White Dude Rex Burkhead. Rex Burkhead, former Nebraska Cornhusker running back. He played there with Taylor Martinez, who had a brother named Drake Martinez, who I played against, and he smoked us in a passing league. All fun, all good, all cool. Doesn't matter. Weird connection, I know. He's one of those guys who can do it all. He's more of a power back. Hard to tackle, hard to bring down. When you need 4 to 5 yards, you give it to Rex Burkhead for sure. He's just going to dip his shoulders, go. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. We saw it last week. The dude's a goal line monster. He scored the game winner in overtime. Then you see the whole celebration with Tom Brady in his swimsuit. The scuba suit. It was all good. We saw it last week, how good and how complete of a back he is. And I call him Crazy White Dude Rex because the dude will do anything on a football field to win. I think he proved it last week with taking a lot of James White's responsibilities because James White was a little gimpy. The next running back, Sony the Real Deal Michel. Also have a weird connection with this guy. Sony Michel is from Florida, but a football camp I went to, Football University, they used to be responsible, a big part of, and a big relationship with the U.S. Army All-American game. So they had this 8th grade All-Star Bowl that was played the same weekend as the U.S. Army All-American game. Well, I started going to FBU. Sony Michel's actually the same age as me. And I didn't get invited to the 8th grade camp, but I did get invited to the All-Star game, but I did get invited to Top Gun, which Sony Michel was at. It was in Virginia. So Sony Michel got invited to the 8th grade All-Star game, and with that, he was the best player there in 8th grade, and it wasn't even close. So Sony Michel was like the biggest marketing tool they used for that game. And I don't know if he remembers it like I remember, but I remember every single camp I went to, they were showing the highlights from that game, and it was Sony Michel scoring tons of touchdowns. And I think that's one of the craziest things, that he's playing in the Super Bowl, and I'm doing a podcast about that Super Bowl. But Sony Michel, from those videos on, seeing his highlights, watching him at Georgia, watching how versatile of a player he is, seeing how much bigger he's gotten. He's like 225 pounds now. Just big, strong, fast running back. Like 5'10", 225, I'm pretty sure is his measurements. He runs so hard and so fast, and you see the Jets with him. And the fact the Patriots got this guy when they did was huge. And I think both Georgia running backs had an exceptional year. And there's another Georgia running back on the other side. And I think it's very hard to not consider Georgia running back U with who they've put out. But I think he's going to be a big aspect and attacking that defensive line the Rams have, which I'll be talking about in a little bit. But I think Sony Michel is going to be the one that sets the tone and sets the tempo. And I think he's a very smart and effective runner with the football. Good receiver, and I think you're catching a common theme that all the running backs are versatile for New England, and that's a big point of emphasis you've seen with running backs in the past, whether it be Corey Dillon, LeGarrette Blount, you get Dion Lewis, some of these names from former Super Bowls. They find either old running backs who still have this skill to offer, or young running backs with a lot of skills that could be refined into being a solid rotational back. I think you see teams like the Saints, they had multiple running backs. You see the Rams with multiple running backs. You see the Cowboys start using Rod Smith a little bit more because he's a versatile back in many ways. It's one of the ways I think you've noticed that New England's changed the game with having multiple running backs that can do multiple things. Having a running back by committee isn't a bad thing. I mean, you look at the Patriots, they do have their workhorse back in Sony Michel, the one I'm talking about, but the running back by committee thing is now not a detriment. You used to see it with Darren Sproles and LaDainian Tomlinson. You know, you've seen it in college with Reggie Bush and Lendell White. It's a very common thing, running backs by committee, and when you have a bunch of good ones with different skills, might as well find a way to utilize all of them. And that leads me to James, the Swiss Army Knife White. Tell me the last time you heard of a running back making 15 catches in an NFL game. Well, it was James White. He had 15 catches, like 93 yards. They were pretty much all rushes. They were catches out of the backfield, angle routes, out routes. And in my state on Sunday, when they got to the goal line, my go-to thought was they're going to run a pick play to James White. It's what they always do. It's how they won the Super Bowl against the Falcons. James White's very good. He's a good running back altogether. He's a Wisconsin guy. And Wisconsin may not have as good of running backs in the NFL, but in college, all their running backs tend to be really good. Hold on. What the heck? Yeah, okay, I was right. He was a Wisconsin guy. I just had to make sure. James White, Wisconsin guy. You've seen Wisconsin running backs take over. James White has become Tom Brady's favorite wide receiver. He's always open. He's a check down usually, and he always makes something happen with the ball in his hands. Once you get a linebacker or safety on him, it's a mismatch every single time. There's a reason James White has become such a predominant part of their offense, and it's because of that versatility. And that's the thing that makes it hard for the Rams to game plan against him, because are you going to game plan? How are you going to game plan for three different types of running backs who can do three different things extremely well, but all do multiple things decent at the same time? It's hard to. You can't game plan for them all the same way, because Sony Michel is going to bust you through the middle. James White's going to cut you 1,000 times with just small catches and small incremental gains. Rice Burkhead's going to put his shoulders down, get the yards he needs to get. And that's catching the ball, that's running the ball, it doesn't matter. James White, he's been a Patriot the whole time, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. He's won 2 Super Bowls with the team, going for 3. James White's very good. He knows his role, and I think that really shows. And he's got more receiving yards in his career than rushing yards, which is absolutely absurd for a running back. But still, very good at both. Then you look at Rex Burkhead's career. He had a wicked injury last year, which was pretty hurtful to the team itself. He played for the Bengals for a little bit, solid player there. But another guy, not insane stats, but extremely, extremely useful and valuable. A better playoff performer than a regular season performer. Then you look at Sony Michel. And I just want you guys to hear these names all 3 times because I couldn't even tell you which one's going to be the point of emphasis for this game. It's just, it's like you have 3 backs in one. And I think that's insane. And I think that shows how strong the Patriots are as a team. Now, I'm going to move on to the wide receivers. And I have White 1, White 2, Dorsett, and a bunch of Jags. Just guys. So Julian Edelman. Let's start with him. He's been there a while. He's Tom Brady's favorite receiver. It's him and Gronk. Gronk. I'll throw Gronk in this section because I don't have Gronk in this section. I don't think much needs to be said about Gronk, but I'll add him. So White 1, Julian Edelman. He's a white slot receiver like I was when I was in my playing prime. Julian Edelman is a very clutch performer. Made quite a few big catches on the last couple drives for the Patriots. His beard's epic, so you really have to respect the beard. It shows how tough he is. If you have a beard like that, you're tough, usually pretty regularly. He has one of the greatest cuckolds of all time, and he ruined another man's baseball career by doing it. Matt Harvey thought he was still dating Adriana Lima just to find out that Adriana Lima was going on a date with Julian Edelman. And then Matt Harvey proceeds to drink himself under a table and misses his start. Not like any other game, like his start. And then his career sort of fell apart after that. And I'm not saying I'm blaming Julian Edelman for it, but before Julian Edelman, the dude was dating supermodels and pitching extremely well. All to get sent to Cincinnati, Ohio. Which Cincinnati's not not the worst. I like Cincinnati. It's a good place. I've been to a couple events down in Cincinnati. Saw the Browns play the Bengals in Cincinnati. Fun time. You know what I'm saying? Went on a riverboat. It was cool stuff. But Matt Harvey was in New York. Matt Harvey was a New York City guy. Now he's in Cincinnati, and that's a big culture shock. And I know I'm talking about Julian Edelman, but this line is one of my favorites. Matt Harvey was bragging about some women he picked up on a night out. And one of his teammates, this was before he got traded to Cincinnati, the story came out after the trade, said, she must not have seen you pitch. And that line will always sit with me. That's what I'm always going to think of when I think of Matt Harvey. And I'm always going to think of Julian Edelman when I think Matt Harvey. And that's because Julian Edelman's a savage. And I think going against that Rams secondary, he's going to have a field day across the middle. Next guy, White 2. Chris Hogan, lax bro. Extremely handsome AF. Major confidence in big moments due to good looks. That's what I have written down in my Chris Hogan player profile. The dude played lacrosse, and he played football at Penn State. Then he played football for 1 year at Lehigh, and he played both ways. He played corner and receiver, extremely versatile, never really found himself a position. Then was an undrafted free agent, Buffalo Bills. Some of you guys might have seen him on Hard Knocks when he was with the Dolphins too. Chris Hogan had a very catchy nickname, and it's sort of one that gave me a nickname. When he was on the Dolphins practice squad, the dude found himself on Hard Knocks quite a bit. He was on Hard Knocks when the Dolphins had it, and he was referred to as 7-Eleven. He was always open. Oh, he went to Monmouth College. Well, same thing. Yeah, so, he played at Monmouth. That's my bad, not Lehigh. It's my bad. But Chris Hogan found a home in Buffalo and actually became a pretty consistent slot receiver. And you know what Bill Belichick loves more than anything. Versatile white guys who can play special teams and wide receiver. Julian Edelman could return punts. Chris Hogan return punts. Julian Edelman could have been a gunner. So could have Chris Hogan. I'm just saying these are things, skills, added skills that make a player valuable. There are ways you find yourself in the league. And when you have that type of versatility, that's exactly what Bill Belichick cherishes. So Chris Hogan, I like him more than Danny Amendola. Danny Amendola is kind of a dumb dude. He had Olivia Culpo, sort of blew that. Very unsmart of him. I know Danny Amendola could get a lot of hot chicks, but Olivia Culpo won Miss America. I think Chris Hogan would have been smart enough to lock down Miss America if he had her. Plus he's a Chris guy. I'm a Chris guy. It's a Chris Renne show. Chris Hogan's always welcome on due to his name. All Chris is welcome. Am I right? But yeah, I think him and Edelman both ran the same routes across the middle or outward extremely well and made huge catches on those final drives to win games. And I think they have that clutch factor you really cannot teach. Moving through to Philip Dorsett, he's their speed guy. He's the guy who can take the top off the defense. A big-time speed guy, big-time football guy. I like Philip Dorsett a lot. I think he's a good player. I think losing Brandon Cooks was hurting him until Philip Dorsett sort of started stepping up later in the year. Philip Dorsett's still probably not the strongest weapon they have, but, it happens. Then you have Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski, very good player. Going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, no question. Super Bowl champion, tons of tight end receiving records. Was a freak at his prime. And, he's a little slower now. He's a little more beat up. There's actual thought about retirement. He said he's not sure if he's going to retire, but he's definitely been thinking about it more. And he said after the season he's going to take 2 weeks, which once a player starts setting times like that, he's not all in like he used to be. Once you start asking yourself if it's time, it's probably getting close to time. And Gronk is asking himself those questions. Now, Gronk, does he have one last Gronkowski-level domination game left in his tank? I'm not going to count him out. I don't think he's as fast as he's used to be. I don't think he's as strong as he used to be. And I definitely don't think he's as durable as he used to be. But when you need Gronk most, you throw a fade to him on the sideline when a mismatch and a double coverage, he's going to come down with it because he's still 6'6", 270 pounds, and one of the greatest tight ends to ever step foot on a football field. I think Gronk might be the difference in this game, and I really like talking about Rob Gronkowski because he's a fun dude, and I like the way he brings it every time he plays in a football game. He's been a more dominant blocker this season. He's been a more dominant football player this season, but he just hasn't been the same receiver this season, which has been unfortunate. But I'm excited to hear it. I'm excited to see Gronk, even if this is his last game. It's all good. He's had a good career. First ballot Hall of Famer, for sure. So let's take a quick gander at their defense. The defense couldn't tell you who's on it, really, but New England always finds a way to get it done. They have Dante Hightower, at linebacker. A joke was spewed during the Patriots game against the Chiefs. Van Noy, white Khalil Mack, ? He's a very versatile player. Do I really think he's a white Khalil Mack? No, but I thought it was really funny to say when Van Noy would make a play, and all the people rooting against the Patriots would be like, shut up, you know? And I think he's got a cool name, Van Noy. He sounds like a villain in a movie. You got the secondary, Patrick Chung. You got the McCourties, Stephon Gilmore. All old, all still getting it done. I remember seeing a video last week of them covering not only Travis Kelce in a lockdown situation, not only was that fast guy, Tyreek Hill in a lockdown situation, but Stephon Gilmore absolutely clamped Sammy Watkins. So they really took it to the Chiefs from a coverage standpoint. So look for a similar style of defense coming for the Rams. All right, moving forward to the Rams players. Let's start with the quarterback, Jared Goff. Jared Goff, hot girlfriend. I remember the first time I watched Jared Goff, he was a super skinny freshman. He was a 4-star or 5-star recruit that went to Cal. Very, very talented quarterback at Cal. That Cal team he was on went 1-11, but they put up like 30 points against Ohio State's defense, and then Braxton Miller got hurt, and Kenny Gaden had to come in and put up like 40 more to win. And Kenny Gaden did his job, and that's my first memory of Jared Goff, which was tight. He was awesome. I always liked watching Cal play when he was there. He's a very good quarterback. I actually watched a lot of games of him in college. Pac-12 After Dark, if you know what I'm saying. He was an underdog when he came into the league. Not many people knew him. I knew him. I always thought he was going to be a little bit better than Carson Wentz. So far, I've been right. Just saying. One's in the Super Bowl. One got hurt, and his team still won the Super Bowl. So, don't count that ring as yours, Wentz. It was Big Dick Nick Foles's. But the things I like about Jared Goff are his attitude. He comes at the game with a very neutral perspective. He never is too high. He's never too low. He's always calm. I think he's a very calm presence, and I think he's a very, very confident quarterback. He has an extremely strong arm, and it's extremely accurate, and you've seen some of those throws. If you watched the Chiefs-Rams game this year, you saw all of these throws he made, and they were all on the money, and they were all on time, and they were all perfect. He throws one of the most catchable balls in the NFL. He's extremely good. Looks like Ryan Gosling. Is that good or bad? That's a question for another time. I think it's a good thing. I think that's why he has the supreme confidence, and that's why he has the smoke show of a girlfriend. Everyone's going to be asking me why I keep talking about these people's girlfriends. And when you have a hot girlfriend, it just shows how confident you are. And that might sound shallow, but go-getters get what they want. That's all I'm saying. And Jared Goff got a hot girlfriend because that's what he wanted. That means he won't ever settle. So next is the running backs for the Rams. Todd Gurley is the best back in the league this year besides Zeke. I think it's pretty safe to call them the 1 and 2. Todd Gurley almost had 1,000 yards receiving and like 1,800 yards rushing the year prior to this, which is absolutely insane. This year he was a little gimpy at the end. They rested him a little bit. Wasn't the same player in the playoffs. Will we see that same Todd Gurley who's that dominant in the Super Bowl? I don't know. But you have to prep for that Todd Gurley. Absolutely. Because you don't want to lose on some dumb stuff and not not preparing for the Todd Gurley that can come about. The dude's an ultra talent. You can see it. He's pretty much the reason Nick Chubb couldn't get on the field one year. He's the reason Sony Michel had to play wide receiver. So there's those two things. It's very much true that George is running back you, and just talking more about it, it's true. Todd Gurley, if he's healthy, can be a big difference maker in this game, and I know that's just a lot of talk, really, And I've said that about a lot of players, but the reason I'm talking about these players is because I think they're going to be big differences. C.J. Anderson's a journeyman. He played at Cal also, but he never really found a footing in the league. He's been all over the place. You just go look at the teams he's played for. The Broncos, he was there for a while. Then he was on the Panthers, and then he was on the Raiders. But the first couple of years for the Broncos weren't bad. He was just like a solid running back, a solid player. He had a really good 800-yard year. He had a 720-yard year. But then, after his 1,000-yard year, he didn't re-up with the Broncos. And then he signed with the Panthers, never really found his footing there. And then the Rams picked him up. Another one of those misfit toys, one of those veteran players. And I think C.J. Anderson's come on, and he's looked like the C.J. Anderson that was so prominent on the Broncos. I think I have in my notes, will he have a Rocky moment, that moment of redemption, that moment of finally getting and rising to the top? I think he will. I want him to really badly. Next on the list, Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald. Two different types of nose tackles, but both two of the most dominant nose tackles in the turn of the century. Since the year 2000, Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald have probably been the two. You throw Warren Sapp on that list. It's Warren Sapp, Ndamukong Suh, and Aaron Donald. Those are probably the three best nose tackles I can remember. You had the bigger one. Vince Wilfork was good, but not like these two. Ndamukong Suh, some would say he was a dirty player. Aaron Donald's never had an issue with that. Aaron Donald is an absolute monster. I will have a picture posted on the Pints at the Round Table page, probably after the show, showing how ripped this dude actually is. The dude looks like the Incredible Hulk, actually. I think Aaron Donald can single-handedly mess up the Patriots' game plan. The best way to beat Tom Brady is pressure up the middle, and when you have Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald, it's like the whole time you're planning on playing the Patriots and getting pressure up the middle. I think they're just giants. They're giants in the whole grand scheme of football. And Suh dominated for the Dolphins, but never really had a shot like this. Aaron Donald has been dominant since he came into the league. They're two of the best to ever do it on the defensive line, and I really think if they show up and play the way they're both capable of, they can really transform this game and make the Patriots look like a bad team. The other one, the horrendous but veteran secondary. Marcus Peters, washed. Aqib Talib broke, old and slow. Still strong, still a ball hawk, but not the same. Crazy nickel Roby Coleman hits illegally, gets away with it. Will he get it done again? Probably not. He's been talking a lot. He called Tom Brady old. He's the scapegoat. If the Rams lose, it's all their fault. He gave them the bulletin board material. So since our secondary is so horrendous, I don't really want to talk about it. So I'm going to go into the offensive line. The Patriots' offensive line is better. I think. The Rams is good too. I think it's a pretty even matchup from an offensive line standpoint. Then into unlikely heroes. For the Patriots, my number one unlikely hero is going to be Cordero Patterson. He's a burner, a speed guy, a gadget player on offense, but a very, very dangerous kick returner. And I think most Super Bowls have had a special teams play or a trick play that have changed the game. So look forward to Cordero Patterson, the always dangerous Cordero Patterson, back to return. To return a kick or take a kick back far in a time of need, because that's the type of ability he has. Then you have the kicker, Stephen Gostkowski. If you've known anything about Tom Brady's Super Bowls, a lot of it's come down to the last minute. He hasn't really dominated in one. And Adam Vinatieri has made game-winning Super Bowl kicks to give Tom Brady his rings. Can Stephen Gostkowski provide that Vinatieri ice in the veins mentality, you know? I think he can. I like Stephen Gostkowski a lot. I think if it comes down to him making a kick, it's true. I know the guy on the other side. I think it's Greg Zuerlein's on the other side. He already proved that he can do it. And he did it last week, and I think he'll do it again if it comes down to it. So if it comes down to Greg Zuerlein or Stephen Gostkowski, I think both kickers are very capable of performing in the clutch. The Rams, I think Robert Woods is going to have a big game. I don't think it would be an unlikely hero. I think they have so many other weapons that he gets lost in the crosshairs of all the talk. But I think Robert Woods is a really good receiver, and I think he found a very good rejuvenating place away from Buffalo in Los Angeles, and he's been a really good player since he's landed there. I like Robert Woods a lot. He's an armed and dangerous guy. I've met him one time. Cool, nice dude. I don't know if he was nice just because we were campers at the guy who trains him, or if he's just a genuinely nice dude. But he was nice to me the one time. So that was cool. I think him as a possession guy, as a guy who can get open anytime. I used to think he was like Jordan Matthews, but he's a little better than Jordan Matthews now. He's very good. I think it'll be very, very big time for him I think he's going to have to come up big. And I know unlikely heroes might not be the right thing for him, but a lot of people have been talking about him this week, and I think he's going to be a big difference maker in the game that a lot of people aren't talking about. And then Johnny Hecker, an unlikely hero. He threw a pass last week, the punter. Big time pass. Big time for the brand. Shout out Pat McAfee. And I think Sean McVay's going to go for broke, and I don't think he's going to be scared to call trick plays. So those are my unlikely heroes, and that is my breakdown of all the major keys to this game from a player standpoint. So I'm going to take a little break. And after the break, I will talk Super Bowl commercials, Super Bowl setup, and then the show will be over. It's going to be a longer show, but it's the Super Bowl special. For all your shipping needs, whether it be LTL, FTL, expedited air freight, go to freightsaver.com and get your quote today. What up, everybody? Welcome back. Sorry, I had to take a quick detour. I had to go to class, actually. But we're here finishing it, so let's break down what I've talked about already. There we go. Check out my newest Instagram post. It's talking about Anthony Davis and where he will go at mbasementprod on Instagram. Give me your opinion on it. I want to know, where do you think Anthony Davis is going to end up? Do you think he'll end up at the Lakers before the trade deadline is over? Do you think he'll end up in the Celtics as a free agent? Do you think he'll go to Philadelphia at the trade deadline? There's some teams rising and falling out of the race, and I want to know what you're talking about. So, for the first half of the show, I talked about the players, the coaches, and what they are. I talked about some advantages and disadvantages each of them bring to the table, but I don't really think I went into what I think is going to happen in the game. The game itself is going to be an interesting game. You've got one of the most high-powered offenses in the league versus one of the most methodical teams in NFL history. The Patriots are very methodical, and as you saw against the Chargers, they came out, stuck to their game plan, dominated, won the game. Against the Chiefs, came out hot, 14-0, stuck to their game plan. The game ended up tightening up because of Mahomes' ability to make things happen, but in the end, the Patriots still held on. The Rams, on the other hand, have played in all sorts of different types of games, whether it have been the shootouts versus the Chiefs, winning the games defensively in a hard running game, airing it out with Jared Goff. They've won 100 different styles in 16 games. It's a very complete team. There's a lot of ways they can win. Wade Phillips has made some changes throughout the year. I think the Rams are definitely more built for a shootout. I think if this game's high scoring, it's going to be tough with the Patriots and their weapons to keep up. But that being said, I don't think it's going to be a shootout. I think the Patriots are too good at a ball control style of offense, beating you with 1,000 cuts, beating you with a 5-yard catch, a 5-yard pass here, a 5-yard pass there, a 10-yard pass here, converting on a 3rd and 11 when you think you're off the field and continuing a drive. I think that's where the Patriots are going to separate themselves in the game. I know the Rams are a more talented roster. I think we all know that. But I think from a Belichick and Tom Brady standpoint, that's all they need to separate themselves. And being here and having that redemption from last year with the Eagles and the Fly Eagles Fly and having all that talk during the offseason, is Tom Brady too old? Is Rob Gronkowski done? Is this team capable of winning? Is this dynasty finally over? And I think they came back this year and struggled throughout the year, and they heard a lot of noise. You know the Patriots take all that stuff personally and use every ounce of anything to get motivation. And you need to find new motivations when you win every year. I personally think the Patriots are going to win this game. I think it's going to be close. I know I said earlier 2 touchdowns. I think it's going to be like 35-21 around that range, around that score, whether it be like 37-23, however the kicks and safeties and that type of stuff goes. I think a special team player is going to make a play that changes the game. It always happens in a Super Bowl. There's going to be a wide receiver that we've never heard of make it play. And I think that's an exciting part about the Super Bowl. You never know what's going to happen. I think I'm going to do a special show Friday on prop bets and betting. I think we'll have some fun with it. I think I'll have some guests on for it. So look forward to that. I know Pints at the Round Table will probably be a show where we talk a lot of stuff, including the Super Bowl. So be listening for that one on Thursday. But moving forward, if you're not into the football, and as I know, a lot of people aren't into football, but they'll be watching the game anyways. There are 5 Super Bowl commercials. Oh, I wrote 4 down. Never mind. There are 4 Super Bowl commercials that set an example on why you should still watch the game. The first one coming, here we go. I will post snippets of them on all the pages. The first one is a funny one. Here it is, Snickers commercial.
4th down, Coach. What do we do?
I'll tell you what we do. I want you to go on the field, look for anything with an O. Let's kill them with kindness. Jimmy, I want you to make balloon animals. Tyler, make little tea cozy, something fun. Are you okay? We will win this for Mother Russia!
Coach, eat a Snickers.
Why is that, Chief?
You get a little loopy when you're hungry. Better.
Now let's go for it! Yeah! Go get them, guys!
You're not you when you're hungry.
So, obviously this is a podcast, so you can't see it because it's not a video podcast. But what you missed. The scene opens, the game on the line. The team runs up to a figure. It's Robin Williams, Hawaiian shirt, typical Robin Williams, nonchalant attitude, you know. He's the coach, classic Williams improv ensues. RIP. Condolences, rest in peace, Robin Williams. You were a GOAT, a legend in comedy and acting, unbelievable storyteller. He tells Jimmy to make balloon animals. Players ask if he's okay. Tells players to win for Mother Russia. His assistant comes with Snickers. Who would have thought a Snickers was coming? Honestly. Unless you've seen the commercial before. Says, eat a Snickers, coach. You're not you when you're hungry. I know that. I definitely eat a Snickers when I'm hungry. But all in all, the best part about Super Bowl commercials is there's this level of creativity brought to them. There's a level of fun that you need to have with them. All in all, it's a good time, and it's hilarious. Some are powerful. This next one I'm going to show you is a classic, and it stemmed on many more commercials that came from this one.
A lot of people are like, aren't you too young to invest in the markets? And, A, don't worry about it. I just look young. I mean, you don't know how old I am. And B, I use E-Trade, so check it. Click. I just bought stock. You just saw me buy stock. No big deal. I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. Whoa.
It's so easy. There are 1,000 new accounts a day.
So, if you don't know, the E-Trade Baby is hysterical, and they've done an E-Trade Baby commercial almost every single year since I think I can remember. There's easily 8 to 9 E-Trade Baby commercials, and each one has been funnier and funnier. I don't remember seeing a new E-Trade Baby commercial last year, but whatever. We'll see it. That's a classic for sure, though. My favorite one was actually when they're on the airplane, and then the pilot starts talking, and the other baby is like, Dad? Yeah, that one made me laugh a lot. What's next on the docket here? Oh, this one's my favorite. But I'm not sure the legalities of playing it because there's music in it. And with Spotify, you're not really allowed to play music on podcasts. So this one is the Sandman commercial. Mr. Sandman, a dream. And then it cuts to this lady on a horse, and then her husband is sleeping next to her and has a dream, and it's a Kia commercial. And let's go through it. The guy trips and pours a lot of sand. The Sandman pours a lot of sand. So after he pours the sand, it cuts. Dude's in the Kia. Shout out LeBron, he drives Kias. Adriana Lima, the Brazilian goddess, the Victoria's Secret angel. Life-changing stuff. Has a racing flag. The car takes off. Rooming faster than any Kia I've ever seen before. It's a Kia Optima. Looks left. Sees Motley Crue. There's singing Kickstart My Heart. There's a bull rider on a rhino. There's models in underwear in the stands rooted them on. Chuck Liddell knocks another man out. Then looks at him and taunts. Cuts back to man driving the Kia. He's going fast. Giant sandwich. Lumberjacks. Wins the race. Crashes through the wall. Prince Charming riding with his wife. Stops, turns, looks. Wife jumps off white horse. Gets in Kia. Kia drives on road. Out. Man wins woman back. It takes a lot probably to make Adriana Lima jealous. But this man did it in a Kia. So that's called being a full-on alpha male. The last commercial I'm willing to share and wanting to share is the Doritos Baby. This one's so funny.
And there's your beautiful baby.
Any day now.
Really? You're eating Doritos? He's eating Doritos on my ultrasound. Do you see what I have to do?
I know.
Ooh.
Give me that.
So, if you were listening to it and you're a very observant listener, a man is getting an ultrasound with his woman who he impregnated. So he has Doritos, and looking at the ultrasound, he takes a Dorito out of the bag, and the baby inside the woman's stomach reaches out to grab the Dorito. And it's like the baby's kicking. Well, he moves it and starts moving around, and the baby's moving around on the ultrasound. Well, with that being said, the wife gets mad, throws the Dorito right in front of her, and the baby launches up, loads up, and jumps out of the woman and gives birth to itself, probably ruining the woman's vagina for the rest of her life. But the baby got the Dorito. So, what I'm getting at and why I showed you 4 different types of commercials, why I showed you all that stuff, isn't just to show my favorite 4 commercials I remember off the top of my head, but to show that there's so much entertainment value in the Super Bowl. Hopefully the game's good, hopefully the game's tight, so there's a lot of drama there. But even when it cuts to commercials, it's wild, you know? There's going to be so much fun stuff because companies pull out money for these. They're spending $2.5 million to get a commercial during the Super Bowl, and obviously they're going to make these commercials the best of their ability, so they're going to put a huge budget into it on that end, and they're going to get extremely creative because guess what? A minute, 30 seconds for a commercial, yeah, you're going to need it to be standing out because Super Bowl commercials are talked about for a long time, and they're used for a very long time after because they spent so much money making them. I don't think any of you know how many times I've seen that Kia commercial with Adriana Lima and the Sandman. I've seen it so many times that I forgot the Sandman was at the beginning of it because they cut that part out for a 30-second window instead of a minute-long window. So yeah, I mean the Super Bowl commercials are another big aspect of what makes this game special. You also have the halftime show. You got Maroon 5, you got Travis Scott, you've got Big Boy, some all-timers there. Maroon 5 is my mom's favorite band. Travis Scott, I mean everyone's listened to Sicko Mode. That song slaps. Then you get Big Boy, a little before my time, but I know he big-time hip-hop guy. We'll see how that goes. A lot of people have turned down the Super Bowl in standing with Colin Kaepernick, which I don't agree with because you have so much platform to speak when you're performing at the Super Bowl. So, like Beyonce did, whether you agreed with it or not, she used her platform to speak, whether you liked what Lady Gaga did or not. I mean, the Shark with Katy Perry took over the show by being so off. It's like some random dude just put on a costume and went out there and followed the other shark, and it was awesome. So yeah, look forward to the commercials. Just make sure if you don't know football, you're not that person who tries to act like they know football. You know what I'm saying? There's always that one person who wants to be the know-it-all that doesn't know anything, and they're actually the worst. Don't be the smartest guy in the room either, unless people ask you to be, because that's also the worst dude. I'm a play predictor, and sometimes I know it gets annoying because usually I get them right, and that bothers people because they're like, just let me watch the game. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna be on my own because I'm gonna talk about what gets me distracted from the game itself, and that is the setup, the way you watch the game. There's these things called Super Bowl parties, and there's Super Bowl watch parties, and I've been going to Super Bowl watch parties as long as I can remember. I've been having friends over for Super Bowls as long as I can remember. There's no better way to watch a Super Bowl than with a bunch of people, a bunch of food, a bunch of beverages. So, to start, you always have to go to the friend's house with the biggest television. Luckily for me, I'll be at a house with about a 60-inch screen, so that's plenty fine. You got to show up early, get a good seat. No one wants to have a bad seat during the game. And if you have a bad seat during the game, be that guy. Don't be the guy who starts walking around in front of the people with good seats. Just stand up, watch behind them, and if you're a person who doesn't care about football, do not take the good seats from the people who care about the game itself. If you don't care about the game, Don't sit in the good seat because you don't care about what's happening on the TV. You're just there for the social aspect. You can do the social aspect anywhere. Don't take a good spot from someone who cares about the football game. That being said, don't invite the people who will make the game suck. In my segment, I'm talking about the notes. I have the boys. No game is good without good people around you. You need the boys around. Also, wait, I forgot one thing with the television. I'll get back to the boys in a second. With the television, make sure the cable's set up, make sure the channel's on, and make sure you don't have that one weird friend who wants to watch something else right before it. Because you got to watch the pregame show, you got to watch the game, and you got to watch the postgame award ceremony. Those are the rules of the Super Bowl. You got to watch it all. Because you might miss something awesome. Just saying. Also, if you're a person who now streams all their television, you need to make sure the internet is working. Me and my dad had a very good time during the NBA Finals trying to make the TV work. And it was so fun because there's so many things that can go wrong with streaming on television. It can cut out. It could be slow. It could lag. There's all this other stuff. It can not work all together. All these things. So make sure you have multiple streaming apps. Make sure you have the internet set up. Make sure the internet is reset and fresh. Make sure the devices on it aren't using up too much bandwidth. And make sure that it's in working condition. Big time. No one wants your cable to go out during the Super Bowl. Now back to the boys. No game's good without good people. Need the boys around. Obviously, your girls welcome if they're coming. This is a place. I mean, it's a social event. Everyone's welcome. All your friends, all your family, significant others, they're all welcome to watch it. But it's a watch party, not a party. Luckily for me, there's an upstairs and there's a downstairs. So if people want to party, they can go downstairs. If people want to watch the game, they can go upstairs. And if people don't want to do any part of it, they can go upstairs one more or two more. So yeah, I mean, everyone's welcome. There's times to talk, there's times to not talk. It's fun to converse about the game. It's fun to talk about the game with many people. I very much enjoy that aspect of football and watching it. So, yeah, I mean, it's a big part. The people make the Super Bowl special. I love watching games alone all year, but the last game of the year I enjoy watching with people. It's stress-free for me being a Browns fan. I usually never have a true rooting interest in it. I usually find my rooting interest during the game. Last year, Nick Foles stole my heart. The year prior to that, I was a little hurt that the Falcons blew that lead. There's all this other stuff. The Seahawks, the first time they won, hated them. The time they lost, I was rooting for them. It's crazy how that works. All in all, I'm excited. I'm excited for the Super Bowl. You know what else makes a Super Bowl setup or watch party great? You need to have the brews. This isn't an IPA day. This isn't a nice beer day. This is a day where you drink the Busch Lights, the Coors Lights, the Budweisers, or as we refer to them, the Bud Heavies, the Bud Lights, the Natty Lights, the Natural Ices, anything to sort of goes down easy and fast and gets you a little loose for the game, gets you into a fun mood. That, IPAs are good and all when you're just chilling, but this isn't really a chill game. It's a party. Like I said, it's a watch party. It's Modelo time, foo, as they say. If you have the funds, get the kegerator rolling. Keep the beer cold, keep the kegs cold. The food. Okay, the food's a big part. I'm a big wings during the Super Bowl guy. But the best way to do it potluck style, where everyone brings something. Everyone cooks something. Everyone buys something from a grocery store. You get yourself either some chicken, some fried chicken, some sandwiches, some dinner platters, some meat, cheese, and cracker platters, some veggie platters. Everyone needs a veggie platter. Pizza, that's a good one. Everyone likes pizza. You get one of those sandwich trays from Jersey Mike's or Jimmy John's. There's another one. Nachos, you get a big nacho plate. Doritos, Tostitos, you need them both. But when you get chips, potato chips, definitely need potato chips. But when you get chips, you know what else you need? You need a ranch dip, spinach dip, buffalo chicken dip, French onion dip, all the dips and all the chips, man. I don't know what that means, but all the chips, all the dips and all the chips, Salsa and guac, very welcome. Very welcome. You need the condiments, ketchup, mustard, ballpark mustard, French mustard, French's. I'm a French's yellow mustard guy. Some people are Heinz guys. Relish, whatever you want. Hamburgers, hot dogs, obviously. Buns. You need the buns. Can't have it without the buns. It's awesome. The game, just sit back and enjoy. Make sure you get a good seat. So just sit back, enjoy, relax, have fun with your friends. If you're a Patriots fan, you're probably getting sixth. If you're a Rams fan, just be happy to be there, and if you win, you win. Conclusion time. All in all, the Super Bowl should be a national holiday. I do not think you should have school Monday. I do not think you should have to work the Monday after the Super Bowl. It's a fun time. Everyone's partying, even if they don't like football. Personally, cannot wait for this game. I think the two best teams made it. I think the two best coaches in the NFL made it, and I think it's going to be a battle to the end. My final game pick, Patriots win 38-21. All right, that's it. Or by 2 scores. I have no rooting interest, so let's hope for some good football. Follow the Facebook. Like us on Facebook at Mom's Basement Prod. Follow us on Twitter, on Instagram at MBasementProd. Don't forget to follow the Pints at the Round Table Twitter and Instagram at Pints at the Round Table 1. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Chris_Renne. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at ChrisRennie5. All in all, let's have fun with the Super Bowl. And be looking out for the Super Bowl betting show Friday. All right, this is your host, Chris Renne, and he is out.